Hello. I am on Twitter right now. I didn't want to go back on Twitter, but I post animal rights petitions and then I automatically go back and check on the stuff. And I see something. I see a comment here from George Hotz. He is in the tech community. He's one of the larger technology developers and scientists. And here's what he says, and I'm also interested. I also find it peculiar the way he says this. So I'm going to read this to you. George Hotz, okay, real George Hotz, it says. Then you might also wonder, is this the real George Hotz? Or he doesn't have the blue check mark, or, even I wonder, even the people with the blue check mark, who are the people behind those accounts? So he says, I want to raise awareness of heaven banning. Heaven banning, similar to shadow banning, is when users' posts are hidden from all. You can just write anything all day long, nobody sees it, right? Because I talked about this yesterday. That I pay attention to these things. I'm just inferring. I'm making inferences, or whatever the word is. So inferences. I'm just connecting the dots with this. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm connecting the dots. I'm asking questions, basically. You can call me a tin header all day long. My questions still remain unanswered, right? I mean, calling someone a tin header or conspiracy theorist is not an answer to the questions that I am asking, or that anyone is asking who is digging deeper into this stuff. I started to do some research on this in 2002 when George W. Bush was elected. So before that I was not very political, only for I wrote petition letters in regards to animal rights, but I wasn't getting into politics. I'm from Germany. I grew up very sheltered. I grew up very naive and very trusting. I thought people know what they're doing, right? They are the experts, right? They know what they're doing and they're all good and they don't lie to us. And journalism, like I said yesterday, journalism was, to the most part, pretty fair and honest in the 80s and 70s, and then in the 90s it shifted. Okay, so anyway, let me read this. I want to raise awareness of heaven banning. Heaven banning, similar to shadow banning, is when users' posts are hidden from all. But also we create bots to engage and agree with the banned user. Here is the ultimate. This is the ultimate here. Bots are only visible to them. So think about this for a moment, okay? And then he says this practice can reduce toxicity on the internet. Okay, George Hotz, I'm addressing this to you. Well, thank you, first of all, for bringing awareness to this. I've already expected this. But which side are you working for? Are you working for the corporate agenda? Or are you working for truth coming to the surface, real journalism? That's my question to you. Okay, you say this practice can reduce toxicity on the internet. Brother, seriously? If someone is breaking the rules of Twitter or let's say any kind website, True Social, or any website where people are making at least an effort towards democracy. They would have the legal system, their ground rules, their policy would be, okay, if someone is extremely toxic and abusive, they are breaking those ground rules. Okay, they're breaking Twitter rules. Okay, and when that happens, why should that person be shadow banned or heaven banned, right? I mean, this is a legitimate question to ask. Really, seriously, this is a legitimate question to ask. Why heaven banning or shadow banning? And then have chat bots engage with them and tell them, spot on, you're right. So that the person thinks, oh, good, I was heard, I was seen, I'm not kicked out, I go on posting stuff and no one ever sees it, no one ever notices. So that doesn't make any sense why they would do that practice for people who are very toxic and abusive and psychopathic. It doesn't make any sense at all. Makes no sense. The only people they would actually use this method with are people that are political opponents, like myself. Someone who asks questions, someone who calls out all very adverse institutions that are hurting the world and the animals and the species on this planet, all the species on this planet, the forest, the animals, they're hurting people. Bayer, Eli Lilly, weapon manufacturers that do horrific tests on dogs. Okay, I'm calling these kind of horrific things out. I'm questioning certain institutions. Those people who question, they will be heaven banned. I ban you to heaven. And why would they even use that word, right? George Hotz, hello. Heaven banning George Hotz. Yeah, knock, 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 right? Heaven banning. It just dawned on me, no. I had this funny feeling already, but now I'm completely clear on why they will call this heaven banning. I sent you to heaven. That's where you can do your activism, okay? And you can go on doing your do-gooder Karen activism. You caring Karen. You can be banned to heaven where nobody sees you. Yeah, you become merely a ghost now, okay? That's why they come up. And they come up with these kind of names. They can't help themselves, okay? They use psychology just also, and they cannot help themselves using those kind of words, which is almost like this is bragging. They are almost like they're laughing themselves to the bank with those kind of words, and they can't help it. That's just like an arsonist who will go to a bar. Paul has seen these people, all of that. An arsonist setting up a fire, then reading about it in the news. Then going to the bar, and then at some point during his alcoholic ingestion, his alcoholization of his brain, of the brain neurochemistry, right? At some point, he can't resist anymore, other than to brag. So he will tell everyone that he's the one who set the fire. And I believe it. I believe that. I believe when someone says something like this, you should call the authorities, right? So no different than people who are doing serious crimes on the internet, hackers and corporatists, middlemen, psychologists, cunning, collaborators, and the list goes on. The Mafia, in parentheses. Okay, so yeah, this is happening. Okay, I'm paying attention to this stuff. I connect the dots. I don't like what I see. This is very frightening to me. Elon Musk's comments don't make sense anymore on Twitter. Who is running that account? Okay, who is running Twitter right now? The Mafia? Yeah, this is a legitimate question. George Hotz. Okay, if you wrote this, if you didn't write it, then I apologize for the mix-up. But whoever is in charge of your Twitter account, I'm asking that question. George Hotz impersonator, George Hotz account user. Okay, my question goes to you, whoever you are, whether you're George Hotz or someone else. My question goes to you. Who are you? And who are you working for? And what's going on with Elon Musk? And what's going on Twitter right now? Peace.